Paris is a very small city, which means that from east to west there are 7 miles, and from north to south there are 5 miles. So 7 miles east-west, 5 miles north-south. This is Paris. So you see, it's small. Huh? It is like an Indian village. Paris has the size of an Indian village, and we know exactly what is the size of the city for one reason. It's because the city is surrounded by a ring road. And this morning when you came, you have crossed that ring road. The ring road is a highway all around the city, running all around the city. It has been done in 1960, and it means that since 1962, Paris is locked inside of the ring road. So it means that the territory of Paris cannot increase. And when you cross the ring road, you are not in Paris anymore. You are in the suburbs. So it means that the cities they have other names. They have other names.
Straight? Yeah. Or left? Straight on?
No, turn here.
Turn left.
This is in the center of the city.
Yeah.
The
All okay? Right?
yeah, right. So yeah, they are in the suburb. There are other cities. So it means then other city hall, other administration, or everything is different from Paris. Now in the city, the population is 2.5 million inhabitants, and in the suburb it's about 7.5 million. So let's say Paris plus the suburb, it's about 11 million inhabitants. And the total French population is 66 million. But last year, for first time, the French population didn't increase. Didn't increase. Usually the population increase not so much, but little by little it increase anyway. But last year, no increase of the population, because the French, they don't make any more kids. So sure, population cannot increase. But anyway, it is the same almost all over Europe. So far, the French were the best in making kids, but even last year, no, not enough kids to renew the population. So now we are in the city, in one of the longest streets in Paris, which is called Rue de Vaugirard. And this street cut half of the southern bank of the city. And southern bank because Paris is divided in 2 banks. We have the Seine River in the middle of the city, and so we have 2 banks, the right bank and the left bank, and we divide the city in right bank and left bank, because if you follow the flow of the river, what's north is right, and what's south is left. Because if you stay on a boat and you follow the flow of the river, what you have on the north part is the right side, and the south is the left side. So we divide Paris in right bank and left bank. So now it means we are on the left bank of the city in the 15th district. How do you know in which district you are? It's very easy. You just have to look at the corner of the buildings. You have the name of the street, and over the name of the street you have the number of the district. And we have 20 districts total. The smallest number are in the historical center, so around the island, in the middle of the Seine River. And more you go in the direction of the suburb, bigger are the numbers. So it's like a spiral, smallest number in the center, and then little by little the numbers increased. Today is mostly the city rebuilt in the 19th century, because Paris basically was a medieval city. And in 1832 we had an epidemic of cholera, and 18,000 people died in 2 months.
Cholera.
And in
18,000 people died in 2
1852, so 20 years later, Napoleon III came to power. And this Napoleon III, he has spent some time in London when he was young. And London at the time was considered a modern city, because London had burned in 1660. So when London has been rebuilt, you know, in the second part of the 17th century, it was considered a modern city at the time. And Napoleon saw this new city of London. And when he became emperor, he wanted to turn Paris in a kind of London also. And also because during the epidemic, one of the reasons why so many people died is because hygiene conditions were very bad. A lot of cases of tuberculosis, because the streets were very narrow, there was no pavement, no sewers, so it was you know, difficult hygiene conditions. And Napoleon III, he had a very good friend who was Louis Pasteur, the doctor, the scientist Louis Pasteur. And it is Louis Pasteur who has given recommendation to Napoleon III to try to improve the hygiene condition in the city. So he made a list and he said, you should do this, this and this. Alors, Pasteur, for example, he said, you should enlarge the street, because if the streets are quite large, they can be well ventilated, because before the streets were very narrow. And then Pasteur also said that the height of the building should be limited. There shouldn't be high buildings, because when you have high buildings, it means that the people living in the ground floor, they never see light and they never see the sun. And Pasteur said that for the people, it's important to have, you know, few hours of sun and fresh air. So why he said you should limit the height of the building. And still today it is like that. The height of the building is limited. No high building in the city of Paris. And also he recommended to do sewers, sidewalk and so on, fountains for running water. So why Napoleon III chose an urban planner called Haussmann, and this Mr. Haussmann, he has put down 130,000 buildings in Paris, and he has rebuilt a new city, the city you see today. So why Paris is a city which has been mostly rebuilt in the second part of the 19th century. And you see this building here, you see when the balconies are very sophisticated like that, it means they are balconies from the 19th century. Sure, there are still some old buildings in Paris, but mostly in the eastern part of the city. Alors, here, by example, a little bit further on the left side, there is the Pasteur Institute, where is buried also Louis Pasteur. He is buried in the church of the Pasteur Institute. So, voilà, the Pasteur Institute is here. You see this building here on the left side. It is a Pasteur Institute. And we arrive in the area which is called Montparnasse area, still in the 15th district. The 15th district is the largest in Paris. It's mostly, you know, not a very residential district, but I will say medium residential district, not very residential, because you have a lot of apartments. Most of the buildings are occupied by apartments, but it's a nice place to live because you have also many shops or food shops, so it's a easy to get food when you live in this area. When you live in the district which are too much residential, the problem is to get food because there are no supermarket, nothing. But the residential district are mostly in the western part of the city, so from Eiffel Tower to the limit of Paris, and it's because in the past the industries were located in the eastern part of the city, and as industries make smoke influence the good air from the Atlantic Ocean. And a little bit further you will see on the right side the Montparnasse Tower, which is the only skyscraper we have in the city, and because as I told you before, it's forbidden to build skyscrapers in the city since the time of Napoleon the Third. Be careful, and we had two Napoleon the First, Napoleon Bonaparte, who became emperor in 1804 until 1810, and then his nephew Napoleon the Third. No Napoleon II, because he died when he was 21 years old by disease, so he never ruled the country. So why they are doing renovation everywhere, closing some streets, repainting buildings and so on. And look here, on the behind you, the Montparnasse Tower, 210 meters high, 54 floors, but only offices. French people doesn't like to live in skyscrapers. So it's not in the taste of the French. So you can't ask French people to live in skyscrapers. They don't feel well. So why when you have a skyscraper you can be sure there are private residences straight ahead.
Straight?
Yeah. Number 6, beautiful district, this one, beautiful buildings, everything is nice in this area. It is also one of the most expensive in Paris. Here it's a square meter is about 20,000 euro per square meter.
20,000 euro per square meter.
And anyway, they are almost impossible to find. Very, very difficult to find an apartment available in this area, for renting or for buying. And soon, at the end of this avenue, you will see a church, Saint-Germain-des-Prés. Des Prés, it's mean in the fields, because during the Middle Age, this abbey, there was a full abbey, in fact, but the abbey was destroyed during the French Revolution. Only a small section of the church is left, and
No, right?
no, straight
Okay.
is left, and this abbey was huge outside of the wall of Paris. So why it was called in the fields, because outside of the wall of the city. Because Paris in the beginning, it's only the island in the middle of the river. There is an island in the middle of the river. There are two islands, in fact, but the second one, in fact, is like a fake island, because there were 3 small islands which has been put all together to make only one, but the most important, this one here, the most important is the city island, and it is the birthplace of Paris, we can say, and the nest of the city of Paris. And little by little, the population has increased, sure. So the population settled mostly on the left bank of the river, not on the right one, because on the right one there were swamps. So why? It was not a good place to live.